your warm leads are somebody else's new leads.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
we work really hard to keep those warm leads and maintain contact with those. And that's something huge that we've changed is just our follow-up process.
You're checking out the Investor Shed podcast with Nick Beveridge and Jeremy Kitchen. They're on the path to financial freedom and they're taking their community with them. Stay tuned for the best free real estate investing advice on the internet.
Welcome back to the Investor Shed podcast. My name is Nick Beveridge, and I am here with the big old ginger bear, Grizzlin' Jeremy. How are you?
Grizzlin' beard, Jeremy Kitchen here. Tell you what, that's a good Grizzlin' beard, Jeremy here. Welcome everybody to the Investor Shed podcast. We are so happy you're here. And speaking of being happy to hear, we were happy to have our guests today, Kyle and Emma Greenwood.
Yeah, they're back.
They're back, baby.
They're back together.
They never left. But now they've togethered.
They're commingling their podcast now.
Yeah, they used to be on separate podcasts. You'll go back and listen to all the episodes to find out. But now they're on an episode together.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Everybody, welcome to season 4, episode 1.
You son of a gun! You sprung that on me. I thought for season 4 we were gonna have like confetti or like a different background or something. But just in the middle of the episode, you're like, nope, season 4. So welcome to season 4, ladies and gentlemen.
We got a new chart that we can go through and organize our stuff on the back end.
This one has a goat on it. It's a very good, well-drawn goat, if you can't tell. But sit down and listen to this episode or watch it. It's going to be a really great time. What kind of food should people be indulging in on this one, Nick?
Oh, I would say I want you to go to Tomato Street and get a calzone.
That's really good.
Yeah, preferably the pepperoni and sausage one.
I was going to say pureed hot dogs, but that sounds much better.
Okay. Oh, I can. Well, if you want to be a cheap ass, do what Jeremy said. Or if you want to live a life of luxury, you go to Tomato Street and you get yourself a big old football-sized calzone.
This episode is not endorsed by Tomato Street, but if you're looking for sponsors, Tomato Street, hit me up.
Hit me up, too.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Investor Shed podcast. I'm Emma Greenwood here with my husband and business partner, Kyle Greenwood, here with our lovely hosts, Nick and Jeremy.
Emma, that was such a great intro. Thank you so much. Maybe we could have some digital applause in that. That'd be great.
Pro.
We got Kyle Greenwood and Emma Greenwood in the house today, ladies and gentlemen. Special treat for you, of course. Kyle and Emma, first off, welcome back to the Investor Shed podcast. This is both of your second appearances on the podcast with us, so welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys been up to a lot, so it'll be fun to dig into your recent experiences. So first off, congrats. You guys are both on your own, living your own lives without anybody telling you what to do for the most part, unless you're at the Rowdy Grouse, right? Something like that. Is that the name of that restaurant?
Ski resort's closed, so I'm no longer doing my part-time bartending gig. So now I'm just working for Emma.
Right. Working for Emma. Nice. How is that, by the way?
It's good. We have learned a lot because I guess we've kind of been working together wholesaling for a little over a year now. So there's a ton that we've learned of what to do and what not to do.
Right on. Yeah. So when Emma was on the show first, I think it was the second episode of the second season.
Yep, you're right.
Of the Investor Shed podcast. So you guys can go check that out. Season 2, episode 2. And you were a co-guest with Caitlin at the time. You guys were kind of partnered in doing wholesaling until I destroyed that business, I'm pretty sure. I like to take the blame at least.
Not destroy that business. You allowed us to blossom into what we are now.
Oh, okay.
You allowed them to flower, Nick.
You closed one door so another could open.
Aw, all is right in the universe. We love that.
Yeah. So yeah, great to have you back. You've done a lot since then. And then of course, Kyle, when you're that was towards the beginning of the third season. By the way, everybody, this is season 4, episode 1. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
Jeremy.
I didn't know that. Congrats. Whoa.
Yeah.
Season premiere.
Yeah. Brand new season.
We just start the seasons whenever we feel like it. Actually, this season could only have 2 episodes, and be like, next time you're on season 5.
I like to start a new season when we take a break internally from doing podcasts for a while. We took almost like a month off, I would say.
hit
two
and
and a
miss
half
for
weeks.
sure. Nobody's going to know that listening to it because your feed is just going to continue on, continuing on. So
Yeah, but season 3 got into like 40 something episodes. It's like it's time to do a 4th season. We've been doing this almost 5 years now, so it's time to do a 4th
Oh,
season.
sweet. 5 years. That's cool.
Yeah.
Congrats,
Yeah,
guys.
started at the end of 2019 is when I started the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe the seasons help people don't give a shit, but let's get into you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think everyone's already stopped listening to this episode.
Oh, I know that happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we try to make them stop listening.
They were out before they were really even in, so it's whatever.
As we get too inappropriate, we don't want to be taken down, so we try to clear out most of the garbage audience first.
We can reel it
Stick
back
with the
in.
good ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kyle, you were on kind of earlier in the 3rd season, and you were just kind of getting started. We named that podcast "Biking for Dollars." You were doing a lot of prospecting, biking around, hunting down neighborhoods, targeting certain homes. And since then, you guys have been doing a lot. So why don't you kind of recap on what it was like going through that decision process of like Emma kind of branching out on your own, and then what made you guys want to work together?
I guess I would say so. Emma and Caitlin were doing wholesaling together. They were having some success, and I was like, "Dang, I want to have some of that success." And I always wanted to invest in real estate. And then when Emma and Caitlin kind of dissolved their company, we talked about it and decided that we would just start a new company together. And yeah, that was, when was that? Like 2 years ago?
It was at the beginning of 2023.
Okay, so that, yeah, like a year and a half ago. Yeah, so we're still kind of in the early stages in the grinding phase, and but we're finally getting some momentum and starting to feel a little more legitimate, I would say.
Yeah, let's can we dive into that if
Yeah.
that's okay? Like obviously you guys started your own wholesaling company and you're just out getting that momentum. Like that first year is got to be tough when you're trying to build up your leads, build up your pipeline and stuff. Can you kind of run us through what exactly that process looked like for you, and how you've actually been able to get traction and what you've been doing to maintain it as well?
Yeah, it really all just boils down to marketing. It's pretty simple, honestly, in the wholesaling business. Last year, we did not do a lot of marketing, so we didn't do a lot of deals. It was pretty spot on if you looked at the numbers. So this year, we've really just ramped up our marketing budget, and we've been sending consistent marketing every single month. And from that, we've gotten pretty much a wholesale deal under contract every single month. So
Nice. And Kyle finally added me to your buyers list, so thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're tagged VIP in our CRM.
Aw.
So what are you guys doing for marketing?
as of right now, we're just focusing on direct mail. That's been working for us, and we still have room to grow that budget. So we're just going to continue doing that. At some point, we do want to integrate maybe a little bit of cold calling and SMS, but we're not doing it yet.
Okay. So it's all still been kind of cold, direct mail. Are you guys still biking for dollars or doing anything like that? Or is it mostly passive marketing?
It's mostly passive marketing, but all the lists that we have are most of the leads we have that we're marketing to are from a driving for dollars list that was made last year.
Okay, cool.
And we have it on our, like, in the next 12 weeks plan to do more biking for dollars. So we are going to kind of expand that, and it's something that takes a lot of time, but we actually enjoy it. Just it's kind of something to do on the weekends, even.
Yeah.
Just bike
Yeah.
around, check out houses, and
In my opinion, everyone's pulling the same lists from PropStream. So if you could just give yourself a little bit of an advantage, and if you're willing to put in the little bit of extra work, I think it's worth it. We used to only drive for dollars, and we just started integrating pulling lists as well. And we've always had success with both. So we want to just keep doing what we know and what's working.
Yeah. No, it's pretty
Okay.
awesome to think about. Like, you guys did put in quite a bit of work on the front end,
Mm-hmm.
like scavenging what properties are worth sending mail to. And that was obviously a lot of legwork. You did it for the first like year or so, and now it's like now you can kind of reap the rewards of this is what we're just going after, and we can just be a little less labor intensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going after those people, and now it's just strategically spending your money correctly to see if you can get good returns, right?
Yeah, and we don't have a ton of deals to like really like look at all of our numbers to compare, but just talking to people who've been doing it for a long time and seeing what they're paying per deal, per lead, and their numbers, ours are like way better. And I think a lot of that's because we're doing the driving for dollars, and we're just
Yeah.
have a little more niche down list. But like you said, it did take like a year to get that list. So
Yeah.
if you factor that in, maybe it's uh, there was some opportunity cost there.
Yeah, I think that's like any business.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the time to be really prospect heavy for the first year or two in pretty much any business, your marketing expenses are just going to be simply lower than most that want to be, doing the same type of volume. So that really no surprise there, but it is kind of cool to hear that like you guys went through that and it's actually worked. And so tell us like, what's like a routine day now for you guys? Like how many properties are you trying to buy? You're buying about one a month. Is that kind of on track for your goals? Are you trying to do more or less of that? Let us know what are your goals?
Well, we're not buying one a month. We're wholesaling one a month.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick. Well,
Just clarifying, it would be.
Are you going under contract with a property once a month?
Yep, absolutely. I don't think we're hitting our goals just yet. That's a big thing that we've been working on, trying to figure out is what's our vision for the company. And I think our goal is more like to be doing 3 to 4 a month.
Yeah, but our goal at the beginning of the year was let's try to get to one deal a month, and
yeah.
we've kind of hit that. And it's it's all on how much marketing you do. Like spend this number, get this many deals, unless you just completely suck at sales and you like botch all your appointments. But
Yeah.
you just got to get yourself as many at bats as you can, and get yourself. You're just throwing a web out there like a net and trying to be in front of people with the right time.
Well, I mean, you just said something that, you kind of almost threw under the rug there, but like you can spend a lot of marketing, you can get leads, but if you're not following up with them and like if you don't have a good sales process, you're just wasting your time and money. Because
100%, yeah.
anybody can get leads, but not everybody can convert.
Yeah.
Yeah, a quote we heard that I really try to think about every day is your warm leads are somebody else's new leads.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's
we
true.
work really hard to keep those warm leads and maintain contact with those. And that's something huge that we've changed is just our follow-up process and continuing to follow up with people, even if you don't think they're going to be ready for 6 months.
Yeah.
What does that follow-up process look like?
So we don't do any drip campaigns. As of right now, it's all like task-based in our CRM. And so every single person has a task at all times, whether it's to follow up in 1 day or to follow up in 4 weeks. And then just every day making sure that you're getting all your tasks done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be doing, getting one deal under contract a month, how many people approximately do you have to be reaching out to a day to make that happen?
If I'm being honest, it's not a whole lot. Like we could be doing a lot more. I would say we're probably reaching out to 30 people a week. I mean, remember, like if people call on your direct mail, they're reaching out to you. So those are really good leads usually. They're not cold calling leads. So
Inbound.
typically our
Yeah.
conversion from those is pretty decent.
I would just add to that. I think it's more that we're spending about $2,000 a month in marketing,
Mhm.
and that's netting us one deal a month right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What's been the most challenging part of your business so far that you're dealing with? And we'll start with Emma and then ask Kyle.
Okay, the most challenging part of our business, let's see. I'm going to say this, I think it's a positive, but learning to work with your spouse is very challenging, and it's something that we've been working really hard on. But it does come with its own challenges. I would say like the most important thing is really just trusting each other. And once you figure out what the other person is good at and what you're good at and kind of delegating roles, keep each other up to date with what's going on, but just really trust that they're doing what they're going to do. And just like any other person would work with, like don't micromanage, really just give each other space to do the work and trust that they know what they're doing. But that's something that I'm really proud of us that we're figuring out, but it is challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Kyle?
Most challenging thing in our business that we faced.
Yeah. What's the most challenging thing that maybe you weren't anticipating or that you're just dealing with on a regular basis that you'd want other people to know that want to get into wholesaling?
Yeah, I would say that the most challenging thing, or if you are looking into getting into wholesaling, you're probably watching YouTube videos and hearing how easy it is and how people are just cashing big checks and mail, like it's like send mail out, get deals, like it, and it's not necessarily like you don't have to be like crazy smart to do this business, but it is hard.
Right.
And we were trying to figure it out on our own for the longest time because I was like, I saw Emma and Caitlin have some success, and I was like, this is so easy. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
And it's actually really hard. And what has helped us is we actually got some mentorship through some friends of ours, Mike DeHaan and Dan Austin, who have a podcast, Collecting Keys. I think at least Mike's been on your guys' podcast. You guys know him.
Yeah, Mike's been on our podcast twice. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But whoa. We don't mention other people's podcasts on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Cut that out.
They're great guys, of course. So.
Yeah, and so I was like, I was always adverse to hiring mentorship or even going to like conferences or masterminds. I thought it was corny and dorky. But it's crazy. We started working with those guys in February, and our business has just really got some momentum since getting some advice from them, because they're literally steps ahead of us, and they're doing the exact business that we want to do. So it's like just we just heard a thing, R&D, replicate and duplicate.
Yeah, rip off and duplicate.
Yeah,
rip off and duplicate. Yeah. And that's basically what we're trying to do, is just repeat someone else's success and learn from them. And
I love it.
Yeah, so if you want to get into wholesaling, find someone who's doing it and do what they do.
Just copy them. Yeah. Or hire them.
Yeah, and you have to tweak some stuff, like, because everyone's a little different and their goals are different, how they want to run their business. But for the most part, it's not that hard of a business. It's just like you just have to do the things and follow up with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can totally relate to that. Like with my business, I didn't start like that REI group just because I thought of it and I was creative one day. Like that was, I ripped off and duplicated what this guy was doing in Alaska, how he built a real estate team, starting these investor meetups every month. And that was their main source of lead generation. And it just kind of broke down how he runs it. And I'm just like, oh, what if I just did that? And I was struggling at the time. And I just I just ripped off and duplicated what he was doing, and then saw success. It took a few months, but saw a lot of success from it. And it wasn't being creative. I was just ripping off what somebody else was doing that worked for them.
Yeah.
And then,
Nick, sorry to cut you off, but you were like one of the first people we ripped off.
Oh, okay. So, ooh, tell me more.
So we were actually talking about that just before we got on here, that like you were one of Emma's first mentors, and like it's, we didn't exactly want the same style business, I guess, that you had, but there's so many different avenues you can go in real estate. And I feel like you were just one of the first people that really helped us along the way. And then it's like we got into wholesaling. So then we found someone who's doing wholesaling, and then we started working with them. And we still call you for advice and kind of guidance on a lot of deals. So just surround yourself with people that have more experience than you.
Yeah. And just to kind of add on to that, obviously, like what you said, you guys found mentors and you found, systems that work. You'll hear this a lot in this episode and everywhere, honestly, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Find what works and implement what is working out of that, and, take away the bits that don't and add stuff that does for you, because you guys are running your own business. You are creating your own systems, but obviously everything comes from somewhere. So we're not originating anything anymore. It's like you do something that works and you find somebody that makes sense to do it with. I did want to dive into real quick because I know Emma said the one thing she has problems with or has had trouble with is working with your spouse, and it's a lot. Can we kind of dive into that just a little bit, because there are definitely pros and cons to working with your spouse. Do you have any advice for people potentially looking to business up or partner up with their spouse, how they should be going about it, and just what's great about it as well, because obviously it is hard.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. One thing that I think is definitely important to think about is just like understand that your relationship is going to change when you start a business with your spouse. Our conversations look a lot different than they did 3 years ago, because now we're just, we're starting this new business. We're excited. And sometimes I really want to talk about it and Kyle's just trying to relax, or vice versa. So just understand that like your dynamic is going to change, and like give yourself grace, because it's going to take time to figure that out. And yeah, while I said that it's challenging, it is super rewarding and I love it. I'm so grateful that we're on the same page with our investing goals and our dreams, because that's really cool. A lot of people, maybe their spouse is an entrepreneur and they're not, and they don't understand it, or vice versa. Like I imagine that can be potentially even more challenging.
Yep.
So that's kind of, I don't know, what do you have to add to that?
No, I think you touched on it earlier, just like trusting each other like you would any partner in business. And then allowing space for non-business stuff, like go on date nights.
Yeah.
But also like if you go on a date and you're both just like fired up about something about business, like then talk about business. Like that's like a great time. Like use that creative juices that you have. Like you got a bottle of wine and you're spitballing ideas. Like that's awesome, and that's something that like a lot of other business partnerships might not have. Like because you're just like you get those like wild moments because you're with each other all the time. But yeah, it's honestly so rewarding to work with your spouse, and I feel like we have a leg up of maybe a solopreneur who's trying to build this wholesale business on their own, because we can divide tasks, and that's been something we've had to learn because we used to do everything together, and I feel like that's where some friction would happen because like we wouldn't do it exactly the same way. But now that we've kind of delegated our roles and kind of know our strengths and weaknesses, that's been huge. That's been huge.
So what are your guys' specific roles in the business? Because obviously, divide and conquer is going to be the best way you guys handle this. Like, what are your strengths? What are each of you working on individually and then coming together with?
So we actually just came back from a little like mastermind with that mentorship group that we were talking about, which was pretty eye-opening for us, because we actually learned that we both have similar strengths, which is not ideal for a business partner, but that's okay. We're working with it. Basically, we're both very energetic people, and neither of us are great at like the detail-oriented stuff. So as of right now, we're both on the sales side, taking leads. I'm doing a little bit more of that on the acquisition side, talking to sellers primarily, but Kyle's going to be doing a lot more of it here. And then Kyle's primarily focused on the disposition side. So he's the one who's really talking with our buyers and meeting new buyers, networking. He's like master networker. He's always like, I have a call with this person. I have a call with this wholesaler. Like he's the one who found our mentors. So he's always like, he's really good at linking people up. And we're actually looking to, because we realize what we're really lacking in our business is some of that organization. We're really looking to bring on an employee who's kind of a transaction coordinator type data puller person who could hopefully grow into a more of a full-time role in the business, doing that kind of back end stuff that neither of us really thrive in.
Yeah. Do you think that person would be like a remote employee or someone that you would hire in-house?
Either. It would be, if someone local reached out to us, or we found them via job posting, like a local would be great. But for that type of role, we think that remote is perfect for it. So we're kind of just building out the job description that we want.
Yep.
And so we haven't really posted it. But if anyone's listening to this and they want to learn about real estate and they think that they're like kind of that detailed oriented admin type person, we'd love for you to reach out to us and talk about it.
Yeah, good point.
I gotta sneeze real quick. Hold on. Talk to my wife. Okay.
No, and so just a quick plug here for Jeremy's wife, Sam, who is a transaction coordinator. I have used her in the past. She's incredible. I do plan to reach out to her, but we are looking to bring on like an employee, hopefully, that can really grow into a bigger role. And Sam's an entrepreneur herself. She runs her business.
Right.
So I do plan to chat with her.
But the reason why I was telling you, I wasn't exactly telling you to hire her, but if you wanted to, by all means. But what I was actually saying is like she's in the business, right? So she's a transactional coordinator. Maybe she knows other people who are transaction coordinators who are looking for something like what you're doing.
Hey, Coeur d'Alene, are you ready to take your real estate game to the next level?
Join us for an exclusive 2-day real estate investing seminar right here in Coeur d'Alene, September 21st and 22nd.
We have an amazing lineup of guest speakers that are traveling out here to teach you everything you need to know to succeed in real estate investing.
That's right. How to find a deal. What is a good deal? How to form an LLC. What tax strategies do I use?
We'll dive in on how to wholesale real estate, how to do fix and flips, and how to purchase long-term rentals.
And that's just the beginning. We're also going to dive into self-storage units, property management, and how to invest out of state. Hey, Nick, what's the market going to do in 2025?
I don't know, but we got Kathy Fecky from Bigger Pockets coming to forecast the 2025 real estate market. And we're going to talk about how to create those business leverage systems.
Plus, we're going to learn how to get your mindset right. What's a short-term rental versus a mid-term rental? How do I build passive income, or should I be building massive income?
What to do? What do we do?
I don't even know what to do with my hands.
I don't even know what to do. We're going to learn. I'm telling you, this is an opportunity you do not want to miss.
Tickets are limited, very affordable, and you do not want to miss networking with these amazing people who are going to be at this event.
Yes, so hurry.
Run.
Click on the link.
Go to northidahorei.com and click on the 2024 Fall Conference tab. Get you signed up.
They're going to sell out, I promise you.
It's gone. It's going to be gone.
Bye-bye.
So again, it's just that connecting piece. Maybe talk to her and see if she can bring you somebody that might make sense.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So at what point do you think you might be ready to bring on somebody?
Now.
Okay.
ASAP right now, okay.
We're ready now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
So,
I'm spending way too many hours out of my day doing
Emma, when you left our
that type
team,
of work that really just drains.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said I'm spending too many hours of my day doing that type of work that just kind of drains my energy, and I really need to be able to focus on just talking to more sellers. And if we brought someone on, we'd have more time, we'd be able to up our marketing budget, and then we'd be able to handle more.
Yeah. What I kind of envied about you guys, you had a really good excuse for leaving my team a year and a half ago or whatever it was. You said you want to just work less and make more money, or about the same, and I thought that was the perfect excuse. Like, yeah, you don't, not everybody has to go out there and just go crazy. Has any of that changed? Do you guys still, because I know a big motivation for you guys was to just kind of live a chill lifestyle where you can go and, I know, Kyle, you golf a lot and you guys want to go on trips and live that experience lifestyle versus just hustle, money. Are you trying to blend the two now, or like why do you want to do more?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I would say we are still living chill lifestyles. And that's a huge goal of ours, is to, like, we see people in real estate, like, they get in because they want, like, financial freedom and they want, like, enough money so they can be free. But then they end up getting obsessed with real estate. And we always say, we're not trying to take over the world. Like, we just want a little piece of the pie and we want to live our lives. But one goal we've set recently is we golf every Monday morning. Because we're just like, we don't need to hustle on the every Monday. So we go golf on Monday morning, and we live right on this little 9-hole course. And sometimes we only play like 4 or 5 holes. We have a season pass there, so it's like we're not going out and like golfing for 5 hours and like doing the whole thing. But we just go golf for a little bit, and then we'll go for breakfast, and then we'll start our work day on Monday at like 11 or noon.
Nice.
And but we have had to kind of buckle down just a little bit, because going back to watching YouTube videos and making it seem so easy, it does take a lot of work, but we're just trying to make that kind of more efficient work.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we don't put in those 80-hour grinding work weeks, but if there is a specific week where there's a bunch of stuff that needs to get done, well, we do it and we get the work done that needs to happen, but we're not just filling our time to hustle.
And I think to talk a little bit more about like why do we want to be doing more? One deal a month right now is great, but deals don't always close. And if we're not, I don't want to be in a position where every single deal has to close. Otherwise, we're not sure when we're going to get paid next. So just to up it a little bit more. And then, like we said, bring on that person who does the type of work that we don't even really enjoy doing. Well, I think it'll just make our life a little easier and more enjoyable, and it'll allow us to grow with hopefully potentially not upping our like hours too much. We will have to help and manage a person, but hopefully, I mean, I would say right now, like, we don't work 40 hours a week. A lot of entrepreneurs at the beginning are like, I work 80 hours because then I want to be able to not work that many hours, and then they never pare back. And so we're kind of like trying to just live our dream life now. And honestly, I kind of feel like we are. We do whatever we want. That being said, a lot of people, that we know in this group or in this space, it feels like a lot of people have come from like these really high paying jobs and they need to replace like 6-figure incomes, and that's not really us either. So we didn't need to make quite as much money to be satisfied.
Gotcha. So I know you guys have a couple of rentals. Do you have any other plans of buying more rentals here in the near future? Is that part of why you want to try to make more money, or is it just to live the lifestyle?
So the main reason we got into investing in real estate is because we wanted to buy rentals, because we listened to Bigger Pockets, and that's what Brandon Turner told us to do.
Okay.
Buy rental properties. But then I think, Nick, we've quoted you a few times because we heard you say you bought your first rental property and then you're like, I need to buy a shit ton of these. And so we are actually selling one of our rental properties because we realize that we have a lot of equity in it, and it's cash flowing great. We have a 3% interest rate on it, seller financed. But it's not really life-changing money every month. So we looked at it and we thought, if we take this equity out, we can reinvest it. And so, our mentors, they have a phrase they coined: massive income, then passive income. And so we're in the kind of cash building phase where we're trying to wholesale, do maybe 1 or 2 flips a year, and build up a huge, not huge, but like a big enough nest egg and income. And then we can, with excess cash, park that in real estate, because we still do really believe in investing in rentals. But if we bought a rental today, we wouldn't have any cash, and then we couldn't market, and then it's like, well, we don't have any money to live or have our business just halt because we're making a couple $100 a month with a rental. So,
well, I mean, a little caveat to that, if you don't mind. I did, yes. I felt that way when I first started buying, but I knew the end goal. You always hear the rich flip, the wealthy hold. And I don't think anything could be more true, because I mean, when I started buying these rentals, they weren't cash flowing much. I mean, I was probably only making, $3,000 a year, maybe, actual net cash flow on each property per year. But over time, the rent stayed the same. The mortgages stayed the same. The rents went up, and they've appreciated over time. Got a lot of tax benefits that were able to, I was able to use to offset my real estate commission income, or like in your case, it's wholesale income. But when all the shit hit the fan, it was all my rentals that saved me from bankruptcy. Like at that point, I was able to open the parachute and sell off some stuff. And I had to come up with $2 million over the course of like 18 months. And it was nice to have that security, because I wouldn't have had that if I was just flipping properties.
Yeah. Well, and I think to maybe clarify what I'm talking about, maybe for our goal is, we'll sell this rental property. We're going to pull out roughly $120,000 in equity, and then we'll reinvest that in our business. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll own 2 more rental properties.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're going to build all this and then in like 5 years we're going to start buying rental properties again. It's we've created this machine that finds good deals.
Yeah.
So we're like, we don't need to hold on to this one house that we just love. It's like, we're going to sell this one and reinvest that into our business.
Yeah.
We're not going to just pull it out and go on a big trip or take the year off, or buy a new truck or something like that,
Nice. Good.
Cool. Okay. Well, my next question was kind of going to be just breaking down what your actual appointments look like. So obviously you've got Emma working with the sellers at this point, and then on the phone, and then Kyle's going to be transitioning into that role. Is that what you said?
Well, we just want to get to a point where we can up our marketing budget a little bit. So I think we'll both be working with leads, and I think it'll be nice because, I'm a woman, he's a man, sometimes you vibe with different people. If maybe I'm struggling chatting with the seller, I can be like, all right, Kyle, maybe you give this guy a go and see if
You're up.
figure it out.
Tag him in. What I was going to ask is, so break down like your appointment. What does your appointment look like when you first get to the house and, they either contact you for saying like, yeah, I'm interested, or no, I'm not interested. Like, what do you do from there? What's your next steps? Obviously it branches out somehow. So.
So when someone first calls and says that they want to sell their house, we're always trying to get an appointment because people are more likely to work with you if you see them in person, and it just shows them that you're serious. You're actually going to buy the house. You're a real person. You're not just like, I don't know, some random person.
Right. They're building like and trust right away.
Exactly.
When you're in their face.
We're always just trying to get appointments, and then we don't even talk about numbers really, or even really look at ARVs until we go look at the property, and it's all about the people. Like, building rapport, like that's that first conversation. Like, you're not worried about why they're selling or what work it needs. It's you're just trying to get them to like you and build rapport with the seller.
Well, I love what you said right there. Like, you're focused on getting an appointment first, right? I think that's like anybody who's in the service industry or real estate in general, like that should just be their number one focus whenever they're on the phone. Because I remember I was coaching this class last week, and they're kind of new. All these people were only about a year or so into the business, and they were all struggling. And I asked each one, I'm like, hey, so what are your intentions when you're first on a phone with a lead, or on the phone call with a lead? And I asked them one by one. And one guy said this, one guy said that, one guy said this, one guy said that. None of them said, I'm trying to get an appointment. And that should absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Kyle, like that should be the only focus whenever you're first on a call with somebody or a seller. It's just, how can I get in front of this person's face?
Yeah.
Is it going to be today or this week or next week?
And of course, we don't want to waste time. We make sure that they're a qualified lead. We make sure that, they have some sort of time frame in mind, that they are actually trying to sell. But once they hit just a couple quick checkpoints that like, okay, this person is going to sell, then yeah, we go on appointments together, which I think also people really like. It seems like they kind of trust the duo of spouse couple, and like Kyle said, we really just focus on the person. I think you said we don't worry about why they sell, but I think that's motivation's a pretty big thing that we try to dig into.
We do. I was just saying, like the very first few seconds of the call, I'm like, why are you selling? Why'd you call
Tell me your reasons right now.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to be chill and casual. Like I'm just like, how's it going? Like, what's going on? Like, I kind of just let them do the talking, and just kind of eventually figure out what the motivation is or what their timeline is, condition of the house. Obviously, all that stuff matters. But I don't just jump right into it.
Right.
Well, I like your tip there. You guys go together. I mean, I feel like when Joe Turner joined my team, she absolutely made our conversion ratios go up whenever we went to on listing appointments together. Because whenever you just have a man and a woman there together at an appointment, things just tend to go better. I don't know why. Like you can feed off each other, and like one can do more of the talking if you feel like, hey, this needs more of a masculine conversation, or this one needs more caring conversation, and then you can just, kind of tap in, tap out
Totally.
while you're there at the appointment.
We'll do that a lot, and sometimes it's like, because we always need to get photos of the property, and some of these properties maybe we buy them as a rental, maybe we're flipping them, maybe we're wholesaling them, but so we always keep our options open, but we need photos. And so if they really vibe with Emma, I'll just kind of like be in the background and taking photos, and or vice versa. If they're just like wanting to chat with Emma, then I'll be the photo guy.
Yeah. So at what point do you bring up price?
So I actually, when we're on the phone with them the first time, I always at least, later on in the conversation, pretty casually, I'll be like, okay, so what are you trying to get for this, And I ask them, I would say about half the time people will offer up a price, and the other half, they're kind of like, well, I don't know what it's worth, you tell me type thing.
Yeah.
And I usually, like Kyle said, I don't like to give out numbers until we see the house. I say, I could give you an offer today, but it's going to be pretty uneducated because I would really like to get my eyes on the property. So then once we're in the house, depending on if we've talked price or not, again, I like to always ask them first. You'd be surprised. People usually offer up something, whether it's, oh, well, my neighbor's house sold for 300, then you know that they have some sort of marker of where they want to be. But yeah, during that appointment, I would say, well, we like to throw out ballparks. Ballparks are a good way to not offend someone. We'll say like, for this house to work for us, we'd probably be in the mid 200 range. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
And really just be quiet after you say if you're the one who's going to be saying a price, shut up after and just let them respond. A lot of people like to be like, I'm going to be at 120 because I'm going to have to fix this and I'm going to have to fix that and we're going to have to get the tenant out and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, just let them react.
Yeah, they might have just said yes.
And you don't know because you talked over them.
What I've learned is the pause is very important in this business, right? Like if you're still talking and you say like, like I could offer you 120, but I'm open to other offers, like, like that instantly like negates all of your credibility. Like, no, your number is 120. And you basically soft volleyball it back to them and let them answer it. Is it true in this business now the first one to mention price loses though?
I used to say yes, and I try my darndest to at least get some sort of idea from them. Yeah. But at some point, someone's got to say a price. And if it's you, I don't think you've necessarily lost.
Sure.
It's just that they're probably being stubborn. And honestly, you should let them have that win because they know that they want you to say price first. So just give it to them.
Yeah.
Hey, quick commercial break here. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you want to give back, let me help you buy a house, or I can help you sell a house. It's the only way I make money when I'm not investing in real estate. I don't make money on this podcast or the events I do, but I do make money only when I help people buy and sell houses. So if you're looking for your next investment and you're here in North Idaho, I want to help you personally. If you are not in North Idaho, I can still help you out. I have a vast network of referral partners all across the country in Keller Williams Realty, and I can find the right real estate investor savvy agent for you so you don't have to. It doesn't cost you a thing. Thank you for your support. Back to the show.
Yeah. And some people are real old school. Like we get some like old blue collar guys that are just like, I'm not telling you my price, and you're like, all right, well this is my cash offer.
Yeah.
And you just give it to them. And honestly, most people aren't accepting our offers because we offer convenience and fast cash. And
if most people are accepting your offers, that means you're offering too high, first of all.
Yeah.
So as a wholesaler in 2024, what kind of rule of thumb are you using to make an offer? When it comes to the percentage of the after repair value minus repairs?
Yeah, I mean, we're still generally using 70%, but once we see the house, that could change. I think we've got a pretty good pulse on the North Idaho market, and we've got a pretty decent pulse on what our buyers would buy. So I will say, like, at first, a couple of years ago, it was very strict, 70%, minus the repair, or 70% of ARV minus the repairs, minus your wholesale fee. But now I think we're a little more loosey-goosey because we just have a little bit more experience. But we still use that as a general jumping off point.
It's tough because it's the 70% rule is 70% minus repairs. And everyone's minus repairs is different because some people do their own rehab. Some people are hiring a contractor. Some people might want to do a waterfall countertop, or I don't know. It depends on how much you fix it up. And like the cosmetic ones are pretty easy because it's like, okay, someone come in here and just like update everything. Like that's like we can figure that repair out pretty easy. But like our last two deals have been like have structural issues and like a lot of stuff that like it's hard to guess.
Right.
And so those ones have been kind of tough, and we find that our buyers are all over the place. Like we'll find a buyer, but maybe some other guy was like way lower, and it's just you never know what a buyer needs, and it's all subjective. So
Kyle's gotten into a really good practice of if a buyer says that they're not interested, he always asks them what price they would need to get it at in order for it to work for them. And I think that's really helped us come up, in the future, come up with offers and then understand our buyers.
Right.
Yeah, I think you have been really good at that. Anytime if I don't give you any feedback, you dig for it.
Yeah, that's good.
And and exactly what Emma said there. That's I think that's really important that you guys are trying to get as much feedback as you can, so that way you can just kind of nail problems right away instead of let it linger and die.
Yeah, and we've brought Joe on appointments last year. We did a couple times, and we're just like, what do you think? Like, you're looking for a deal. You're the flipper. What would you need to get this one at? And yeah, just like really trying to understand what our buyers need. And it's amazing to me how much I have to like follow up with my buyers to even open an email for a deal.
Yeah.
And I get it. We're kind of new to the game, and like we're building our brand still, but I keep saying, I'm like, man, you should be taking me to lunch. Like, if you're out there and you're a house flipper, or you want to get into that, or you want to find deals, go find wholesalers and be the first person they call, because when they get a good deal, you want to be on that top list.
I want to be on the VIP list.
Yeah. You want to be where Jeremy's at.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Make my heart feel nice and warm.
Yeah.
Now I know why Joe's giving you guys deals first, because she takes you guys out to eat and I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Golfing, baby.
Sounds like Kyle and Emma are on Joe's VIP list, Nick.
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to kind of break this down a little bit because you guys mentioned it a little bit earlier. Being in a wholesaling position like this, you're in a position where you can either A, wholesale, B, flip, or keep it as a rental. You get eyes on things before 99% of people in the world. How do you decide if you're going to keep it as a rental, flip it, or wholesale it?
So I'm glad you brought this back, because Nick, you brought this up earlier about, it is really important to us to build passive income. I just think the market we're in right now is really tough for that. So for us to want to keep a rental right now, we'd probably have to get it at some pretty sweet seller financing terms where it really cash flowed well. Like, we want our cash on cash return on wholesaling is pretty high right now. And so we're not going to buy a long-term rental unless the cash on cash return's pretty high.
Right.
So yeah, we'll run the numbers for everything. We'll run it as a wholesale deal. We'll run it as a flip. We'll run it as a whole tail. And then, we'll obviously run the numbers keeping it. And Kyle brought something up earlier, which is opportunity cost. So maybe you're going to make $50,000 flipping it, or you think you're going to make $50,000 flipping it, but you think you could also make like 20 to 25 wholesaling it. We're almost always going to take that wholesale fee and just keep moving the money quickly, because you're going to spend so much time flipping it, managing contractors, doing all that stuff. And it's riskier, So we're
not a lot can go wrong with wholesaling.
Yeah, we're taking on significantly less risk. So for us to decide, like, we are taking on one flip right now that we're partnering in Joe is our partner and they're doing all of the rehab. So for us, it felt a lot less risky than doing it ourselves. So
Right.
I think for the particular flip we're doing too, if for some reason we can't sell it, it makes a great rental.
Yeah.
And so I think like having that multiple exit strategy makes sense for a flip for that one. If it was something that like if it didn't sell, we would just be draining money every month. I don't think we would have taken that on.
Sure.
So.
And obviously, Emma, when you go on these appointments, you're letting them know that you're a licensed realtor as well, I'm assuming, correct?
of course.
So that's another just tool in your toolkit, right? You guys can either, wholesale it for them and get a buyer in quickly, or you can put it on the market for them. And that's just like, hey, if you don't like my price, we can put it on the market. I'm happy to do all that for you as well.
Yeah, and we'll be completely honest with people. Like, you should just list this. Like,
Yeah.
this is you're not gonna like our cash offer. Like, you have enough time to wait. You're not like moving, or you don't have like some expense that you need this cash right now.
Right.
Or the property's in good enough condition. Let's just help you list it, or use someone to list it.
Sure.
So it's we like to be fully transparent and give people their options.
Sure. And just one other thing on the wholesaling. Do you guys ever wholesale, if a seller finance deal came your way? I'm assuming you take that first, but is there any consideration of you guys wholesaling that as well?
Our last
Definitely.
wholesale deal, we actually did wholesale a seller finance deal.
Nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
we
RV park,
wholesaled
right?
one to
Yeah.
Yeah, we wholesaled one to Joe last year. That was a great seller financing term at 4% interest. But they wanted 20% down, and Joe was going to flip it, so she ended up just using hard money.
Sure.
But if she wanted to keep it as a rental, she had the terms that we negotiated with the seller. Luckily, they were flexible that they would have taken cash or seller financing.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does that conversation go with the seller when you're going to let them know that you're going to wholesale their house? Do you have that conversation? Do you get there in a roundabout way? And how do people react to that?
Yeah, so the one that we wholesaled like a month or so ago was an RV park, and we did get it on seller financing. And so, yeah, we were transparent with them that we no longer wanted to buy it, but we have a big network. And I will say, like, we lost their trust for a little bit, and I kind of had to gain it back. But
Sure.
once we found them an awesome buyer, and when it all was said and done, I had built up enough rapport with them that it did work out in the end, and they did trust us enough to allow us to do that. But it is a difficult conversation to navigate, especially for that one. Like, we fully were planning on buying that one. We were not intending to wholesale it. So when we had to kind of switch up gears, there was a little bit of a lost trust that we had to make up for.
And the loss of trust was just like, because we were going to buy it, and then we're like, hey, our financing fell through. And the seller was like, he was calling the title company trying to cancel the sale, and we're like, well, no, we still have it under contract. Like, we still have the opportunity to buy this. Like,
Yeah.
And we told him, we're like, we have a bunch of friends that are investors, a huge network of investors. Like, let us show it to a few people. We think we can find an end buyer for this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they ended up being, I think Emma undersold that. They loved us at the end. They actually gave us both like a silver coin and like a thank you note. And then they tried to hire Emma as their buyer's agent because they needed a new house. They were actually living at the RV park. We got under contract for one, ended up buying one in Montana. But I wanted to really emphasize that because wholesalers get a bad rep, and it's just because you can run it unethically, and
Right.
we do not do that.
Yeah. Speaking of, I recently found out that there's a wholesaler in the area that once in a while, or maybe more than once in a while, when they do dispo and market a deal, they're marketing it for less than what they have it under contract for, with the anticipations that it's going to go for much more than what they're listing it at. Have you guys ever tried that? And what do you think about that?
We've never done that
We've never
before.
done that. I don't think we would do that.
I don't think that's a good strategy. I mean, I don't even think that's a good strategy on market. For a while, people were pricing their houses low, and they were trying to get bidding wars to happen.
Yeah.
That just sounds complicated to me, and you're going to end up with people who are upset. And I mean, we work in a small market. We work really hard to have a good reputation and for people to trust us. So we're going to bring the deal at what we think that it actually is going to work at, and that's really what we're trying to sell it for. So that's an interesting strategy.
Our strategy is we want to get, we're going to miss sometimes. We might be too high on something. We ran our numbers wrong, but we want to make sure it's a good deal. And I want to be like, if I call Jeremy's like, I'm ready. Kyle's calling. This is a good deal. And it might not be the right deal for you. Might not be in the right location, blah, blah, blah. But there's meat on the bone. There's money to be made. It's a deal.
Nice.
So that's what we want. We don't want to have to play this game where we're like doing all these renegotiations with the seller or the buyer. And
Gotcha. Okay, so other than reinvesting your money into your business or rentals, is there anything special that you guys want to purchase? Like a boat or a new house or a car, motorcycle, anything like that?
We want to be like some hybrid of a snowbird.
Okay.
So like that's an experience, I guess. But we really want to just have the freedom because we can run most of this virtually. And so we just want to be like, go spend a month in Phoenix or something during the winter, just kind of get away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
a good goal.
Something else?
No, I would say a lot of, traveling is a bigger goal of ours, I think, than buying stuff. Eventually, I would like a new house, but I'm not dreaming about it quite yet.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I am driving a 1999 Toyota Tacoma with 400,000 miles on it. So
Holy moly.
Jeepers.
I would like
it's a Toyota, not a Jeep.
Little nice.
Oh, Jeremy.
Well, cool. So you guys, I know we're getting close to the hour mark here, but I want to talk about with like one extra thing, unless Nick wants to continue going. But at the beginning, you guys said you guys do about $2,000 a month in marketing right now, and you are trying to do that scaling. How hard is scaling for you? Like, because I'm in a spot where I'm in my business, like touching the tip of the iceberg scaling. But there's so much more room left to grow. And how big do you want to get this thing, basically?
You want me to go?
Same time?
3, 2, 1, go.
I would say scaling was kind of daunting for us until we joined this community called Scale, coincidentally.
Oh, wow.
And it's basically it's our friends Mike and Dan started it, and it's a group of like 70 or 80 wholesalers all over the country. And Mike and Dan do coaching calls twice a week, and then like a sales training once a week, and everyone's on Slack and everyone's sharing ideas and explaining how they do things. And you can just like call people and be like, hey man, I'm struggling with this. I saw you were able to achieve this. And so I can visualize where we want to go now, and I'm not like in the fog, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Like I feel like we're coming out of the fog. I'm like, okay, I can see where we want to take this and how to get there. And to answer your question of what our goal of where we want to grow is, we want to get to like 3 to 4 deals a month. And I think to do that, we could probably run it pretty slim with just Emma and I, and then like one awesome kind of transaction coordinator, admin, data specialist to do some of those back end stuff, and just really allow Emma and I to do what we're good at, and that's talk to people, which is talk to buyers and sellers. And we actually really enjoy it. And then we might hire like a lead manager to just like do some of that like long term follow up.
Sure.
So
are there any other markets you plan on breaking into, or are you just going to stick in North Idaho?
As of right now, we're going to continue. It's kind of like what I was saying before, like everything's working for us. Yeah. I don't want to change anything or branch out unless we feel like we're really plateauing and we're not reaching our goals. But if we can reach our goals here and just keep the momentum going, then I don't really see the need to branch out.
Yeah, and we're going to track like our numbers and KPIs and see like, so right now we're spending $2,000 a month and we're getting one deal. So theoretically we could spend $4,000 and get 2 deals. And I think when you scale, that number is probably going to go up because things are going to fall through the crack and stuff like that. Like right now, we're really lean, and it's like every deal is so precious to us. Every lead is very precious. We really foster everything we have.
Sure.
And so that number will probably change. But let's say we get to a point where like we're getting diminishing returns and that numbers per deal is going way up. I think that's where we'll kind of look like, okay, we're getting 2 to 3 deals, but we really want 3 to 4. Let's look at another market, and let's expand. But I think there's still plenty of room for us in North Idaho.
Awesome. Well, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you being back on the podcast again. I want to let everybody know that if they go to the show notes, that they can get the contact info to Kyle or Emma, whoever wants to leave their contact info. If you want to apply to work with them, or if you want to get on their wholesaling list, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys accepting other people on your
Always,
wholesale list, or do you want to keep it private?
Just you two.
Listen, but if you want that VIP treatment, you better take them to lunch, or you better do something real nice for them.
I had this crazy idea that we would do like a membership. Like if you wanted to be on our buyers list, like you had to pay us $10 a month.
That's elite
access.
You better be swinging out some major fucking deals.
Well, I'm the big idea guy. I
love it. I think it's great. There's power to be had there for sure.
I don't even think I've said that idea out loud.
Yeah, I mean, like, what? There's so many things you could do with that. Like, hey, like, pay the $10 a month, get invited to our Slack channel, where there's private training once a month from us. I don't know, like, you can make something out of that.
But also, reach out if you want to get into wholesaling too. Like, we're an open book. We don't offer coaching or anything like that. But like, if you just wanted to like ask a question, we would gladly tell you anything we know, which is awesome. We're still learning.
Which is not a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
So everything we know, but not everything.
You guys are so humble. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast again. We look forward to having you again on the future when you've scaled up your business a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything that you guys do. And any last comments? Or are we good?
Just keep on living your dream.
Oh.
Yeah, and do reach out to us. Like, we love connecting with people for whatever you got for us, or whatever you want from us, or whatever you think you can offer us. We'd love to talk to you.
All right, perfect. Thanks again, guys.
Love it.
Thank you.
All right, see you next time.
See you guys.
Thank you so much for checking out the Investor Shed podcast. If you enjoyed your time, make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow along on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at The Investor Shed for shorts and promos about each episode. Do you want to be a guest or know someone who has great real estate investing advice and stories? Reach out to us at theinvestorshed@gmail.com.